So guys, let's start now. So as you do remember guys, in the last session, we have covered up the concept of what do you mean by classical theory and the types of classical theory we have. We also discussed about the various features of classical theory. Today we will start with the very first classical theory, which is called scientific management approaches. Okay. Now, when I'm just talking about the scientific management approach, it actually talks about the concept related to FAOLs and how the particular FAOLs principle is basically applicable in reality. Okay. Now, the first thing which we need to understand that these particular scientific management principles is being given by F.W. Taylor, and these particular concept is based on application of scientific management. Now, what do you mean by application of scientific management? This particular application is based on shop level management. You can see that it is focused on the shop level management. Now, what we need to understand shop level management? Anyone having any idea about this? What is shop level management? Because the scientific management theory or Taylor's theory is based on shop floor management only. What do you mean by that? Practical issues, we can say yes. Because try to understand, guys, because whatever theory which is given by F.W. Taylor, it is more specific and more focused to the floor level department, means your employee and the workers, I mean the labor we are talking right now. So the theory of F.W. Taylor is totally based on floor level management or floor level worker and in their improvement and their perspectives. Okay, so there are basically 5 major component or 5 major application which the Taylor talks about. That the very first important part is called your time and motion study. Okay, the very first point is it is called time and motion study. Anyone having any idea what is time and motion study? Anyone having any idea what is time and motion study? Because make sure Taylor's principle is based on floor level manager only or floor level workers only. How we can improve the efficiency for the same. Anyone having any idea what is time and motion study? Okay, let me explain that. No, Vishwajit. It is not related with demand and supply. Time and motion study basically works on the principle that whenever the particular worker working in the organization at the floor level, at the you could say manufacturing level or the factory level, we always need to focus on time required by the particular individual to complete the job, and the motion of the motion means the movement of the person from the one department to other department. For example, let us suppose we talk about the chemical industries. Okay, under chemical industries, as we know that there are some different you could say machineries required to process the material from the raw material to the final goods, and there are, you could say, multiple machineries involved in that. Okay, these multiple machineries basically required, you could say, multiple output for the same. Okay, now in this regards, we have to keep in mind that time and motion study will actually give you an idea about movement of a particular person from one department or from one machinery to other machinery, and the time required to complete that particular task. That exactly will be the you could say major concern about the time and motion study. Okay, now make sure with the help of time and motion study, we can easily identify, we can easily find out how a particular individual is efficient, what about their idle time, what about their working time, okay, what about the time which is being wasted by the workers. Okay, so time and motion study will actually talks about the evaluation of the particular individual's performances at the ground level. That is called time and motion study. Okay, now these particular time and motion study is totally based on 2 important aspects. That is called your we can say, to check out the efficiency of the worker, in the company, and the quality of the working of a particular individual working in the market. Okay, so that is basically what we are talking right now. Yes, definitely, because the idle time may be because of some unavoidable circumstances, but time wastage because of some we can say some intentional circumstance. Because idle time and you could say wastage time is almost similar, but idle time is more basically associated with, let us say for example, there are 5 workers working on five you could say machineries. The output of first machinery become input for second machinery, and unless the first machinery will not give the output, second machinery cannot start functioning. So the time which is being you could say which is the waiting time, we can say, of the worker, second machinery worker, in order to receive the output from the first, that will be considered the idle time. But wastage time maybe because of the machinery failure, maybe because of strikes in the company. Okay, that exactly will come under wastage time. Anubhav. Okay, perfect. Now next one, we have the standardization of material. Okay, now standardization of material basically always talks about the composition and the ingredient of material which we are using. For example, like let's suppose whenever we are going to Pizza Hut, KFC, we talk about McDonald's, they have a standardization of the material which they are using in the company. Okay, like for example, if we are talking about the Mac Burger, the Mac Maharaja, or even Pizza Hut, we talk about KFC, they have basically standardization of their material. Material means the ingredient and the composition which they are using to manufacture the final product in the organization. It is clear what is standardization of material basically, and it is very important for the company in order to maintain the quality of output in the organization. The machineries and the method and the material should always be standardized in nature, always. Is this clear? Standardization of material. It's very simple actually. Yeah. Then we have the tools and working condition. Tools means we are talking about the machineries. Okay. And working condition is basically more about, because when we talk about working condition, it is more about, you could say, a safety of the worker. You could say dehumidification machineries, the ventilation in the you could say factory. Okay, it's all about air conditioning in the factory, the safety equipment available for the workers. That exactly will come under tools and working condition. Okay, next one we have scientific selection. Scientific selection basically talks about whenever the company is opting any method, whenever the company is using you could say any material, whenever the company is upgrading any technology in the organization, there should be some proven fact behind opting or changing anything in the company. For example, if the company is using certain material from the supplier and company having the option to replace that material with other suppliers actually, for example. So scientific selection, nothing but scientific selection of worker, scientific selection of machinery, scientific selection of technology, means any resources that the company is going to opt, that should be based on some analysis, and that analysis will come under scientific analysis. It means that there should be some you could say solid reason behind changing any technology, any machinery, any worker in the organization. Okay, then we have the training of workers. It's very simple, because as you know that in order to improve the skills of the you could say workers, in order to, you could say, working on the in the composition of the worker, you always need to train them so that they would be effective. We can say their skill should be improved. They should be matched up with the you could say market philosophy. They should be matched up with the market dynamics. Okay, so training of worker is basically more about how, you could say, you are building your manpower, building your human resources more in a more solid way, in a more proficient way, so that they would work in more efficient manner in the future. That is called training of worker. Because training of worker is basically for the upskilling of the workers in the organization. Is this clear? Perfect. Moving to the principles now. Okay. Now, I think whatever I have covered up in the Taylor's, you could say, concept. Next one, we have the most important concept which is associated with, that is called the principles of scientific management. First one, science, not a rule of thumb. It means that whenever the company is following any practices, any technology, any scientific tool, any scientific method, any technology, that is for the betterment of the company. But it does not mean that it will give the same result, same efficiency which the company is expecting out. Science is not a rule of thumb. It is not possible that whenever we are opting any method, it will always give you the positive result out of it. Second, harmony in group action rather than discord. It means that the company must always need to work in the coordination, in a group, in a team, so that by the integrated effort only, the company can achieve the target of the organization or the you could say the vision of the organization. A particular single individual cannot achieve everything. That is called harmony in group action rather than discord. Then we have the maximum output in place of restricted output. Okay, it means that companies should always work on improving their efficiencies rather to focus on some restriction. It means that if you can, like for example, if the company's target is 100 units per day, and if they are manufacturing 105 units with the same quality of output with higher efficiency, definitely you need to focus on improving your quality, improving your efficiencies day by day. Condition is that your quality should not be compromised. Okay. Next one, we have the scientific selection, training, and placement of worker. We discussed already. Almost equal division of work and responsibility between worker and the manager. I mean, there should not be overburden to a particular person. Means the role, responsibility, authorities, and the task must be given to all the individual in such a manner so that each and every individual must be treated equally in the organization. There should not be any partiality. There should not be any, you could say, biasness in the company when division of the work will be assigned. That is basically the basic principles of the scientific management. Clear, guys? It's very simple, I think. Yeah. Then we have some suggestions now. Okay. Now, as I told you that the scientific management, the Taylor's principle, is totally based on, you could say, floor level workers improvement only. Okay, so you can see that setting a fair day work, I mean, there should be some proper remuneration must be given it to them. Work study to simplify work and increase efficiency, means how the company can actually, or could say, very good technology, good skills and training of the workers so that they can improve their quality, they can improve their efficiencies. Okay. There should be some standardization of material, we discussed already. Scientific selection, we discussed already. Differential piece wage plan. It means that a worker who is highly efficient, definitely that must be rewarded, or that particular person must have higher economic benefit. For example, there are 5 managers working in the company, and out of those 5 managers, 3 are working really, really good. They are achieving their target, but they are actually completing the company target beyond the company's expectation as well, company's target as well. So a particular person who is more efficient in comparison with the others must be paid on the higher side. I mean, they must have a higher bonus, higher increment in the company. Means a particular person who is highly efficient must be rewarded on the higher side. Then we have the functional foremanship. Functional foremanship means there should be a particular department manager who can actually take care about the department in such a manner. It means that functional foremanship is basically more associated with, like, marketing manager must need to take care about the marketing department. HR manager must need to take care about the HR department. Functional foremanship is that because you need to supervise the activity, you need to supervise the work of the particular person in such a manner so that they can achieve the target. very, very easily. Then we have elimination of wastage and rationalization of system of control. It's very simple because company need to minimize the wastage. Company need to minimize the wastage, and they need to work on that how the system in the process, the progress, the method, the guidelines, the route map of the company can be properly controlled and managed. Okay, so once the company need to focus on elimination of the wastage, how they can not eliminate, they can reduce the wastage, basically we can say, and how the company can actually manage the system, manage controlling the system. Controlling system means they need to manage the workers, they need to manage the human resources, they need to manage about the company's processes. All this will come under suggestions or how a particular this principle can be improved. Is this clear? Perfect. Now we have the criticism of this strategy. Okay. See, rationalization, Anubhav, it is basically more about thinking, what we can say rationalization, because the term rationalization, it means that whenever the company is taking any decision, okay, it should be based on some concepts. Okay, means for example, if you need to, you could say take a decision in the company about, you could say any method, any technology opting, hiring of particular employee. It means that you need to rationalize. Rationalize means you should not be biased in terms of taking your decision making. Okay, you should be thorough with your principle. You should be thorough with your thoughts whenever you are controlling a system. I mean, there should not be any partiality. There should not be any, we can say, biasness. There should not be any, you could say, favorism when it's come to taking decision making. Okay, perfect. Then we have the criticism now. Now, first is called feasibility of functional foremanship, because as you know that each and every time a particular manager may not be, you could say, effective in order to manage their department. So that maybe you could say one of the part. Undermine the human factor in industry, because human factor means definitely the workers we are talking right now. Now, if we're talking about the workers in the company, the workers should be, you could say, managed or should be designed in such a manner that we need to understand their expectation. We need to understand their efficiency, because that is not being talked about at all. Efficiency is not at all talked about. The caliber is not at all talked about. Okay, that is basically called your undermining. The undermining means you have actually underestimated human factor in the industry. Okay, you are ignoring the psychological factor. Psychological factor means the human need, their want, their expectation. They are only talking about the man as a machinery. Okay, they are not considering human resource as a human resource. They are only considering human resource as a particular machinery only. They are ignoring the fact about psychological, social factor or social expectation of the worker toward the company. Then trade unions, very, very important part. Okay, because whenever any particular, you could say, rights of the worker is being abolished, they might be harassed. The trade unions will be the face of that particular worker or group of worker. If any company is taking any inappropriate decision which is not in the favor or which is, you could say, against the morality of the workers, in such a cases, trade union will always play a very strong role in order to manage the organization. It is clear, guys, I think. Yes, can I have the confirmation? Is it clear, everyone? The Taylor's principle, which is more focused on the worker as machinery. They are only focused about the system. They're not talking about the human resource as an asset for the company. Clear, Bindu? Clear, Adam? Okay.